This is the year you move. This is the year you take that next step. Whether you're starting out, starting over, or starting something new, you need a local moving company that you can trust. We're Mankato Movers. We're your hometown moving resource, and we'll get you there. Call or email about our pre-move service today.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to I.C.E. I'm going to apologize on the front end. We are down at the She Shed in Iowa, and our internet's not as strong down here. So Jay is not producing today. I'm going to produce and do the interview and everything because everything was pulling on our Wi-Fi. So if we get a little laggy, I apologize. I'm hoping that it won't be on the recording that way. Please hop on and leave any comments. Tell us that you're here. If you have any questions for Christy, we'll get to those during the broadcast as well. Let's see. Welcome to this episode of I.C.E. I.C.E. stands for Inspire.Collaborate.Encourage, and it's our collaborative podcast. That you're here. If you have any questions for Christy, just one second during the broadcast as well. Let's see. Welcome to this. I just turned off the speaker. Major technical difficulty. Something was still hooked up to our television, so I could hear myself in stereo. Anyway, I stands for Inspire, Collaborate, and Encourage. And today it's also winging it. We started I.C.E. together because during COVID, we gained inspiration from others that we were watching that were doing podcasts. A lot of podcasts spurred from the whole COVID thing. In 2020, we found comfort and knowledge, both personally and professionally, from the podcast of others. The podcasts we watched were from others in our industry or business coach lifestyle individuals, but also from general people that we just had a positive outlook on not only business, but life in general. We're excited to bring this to you each week at 4 p.m. Central Standard on Thursdays. It's on our Facebook feed, as well as on YouTube at Inspire, Collaborate, and Encourage at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. We will have the ability in many of the presentations for the viewers to ask questions of our guests. So let's meet today's guest. It's Christy Levine from Christy Cooks for Life. Christy is a healthy lifestyle coach. I met Christy through Jay's heart troubles. We're going to not only cover her I.C.E. moments, but share info on where to find better recipes and ideas for everyone in the family to eat and live healthier. Welcome, Christy. Let me bring her in here. There you go. Welcome, Christy.
Thanks. Thanks for having me.
No problem. We will get this down. If something else goes wrong, we'll just wing it. That's just the way it goes.
All right.
Let's get started. Tell us a little bit about who you are and how you became a lifestyle coach.
So my name is Christy Levine, as you said, and I am a heart healthy lifestyle coach, basically focusing on low sodium. My husband probably like in 2016 had open heart surgery. He had a bad valve. They fixed it. We thought everything was good. And then in 2019, he had a setback and basically developed congestive heart failure, was days away from the heart transplant list. And I was looking around at all the people that were in our, little group sessions or whatever to try to help, like what your next steps were. And I realized that, they kind of give you the basics, but after that, you're on your own. And it was very paralyzing. It was very hard for him to leave the house, to know what to eat. So I love to cook, and I just kind of took the necessity of being able to eat low sodium and make sure that he wasn't on the heart transplant list, and my love of cooking. And I created this company that basically focuses on adjusting recipes and lifestyle to low sodium, but still enjoying yourselves and doing everything that you always wanted to do. We travel. A year after his heart stopped 5 times in the hospital, we were celebrating the New Year's in Jamaica on a rooftop with fireworks.
Nice.
So,
nice.
Those
moments are just fantastic because you're right. You are sitting there and you're just paralyzed because you don't know what to do. I remember the first time that Jay and I went out to eat, we went to Subway, and he's just like, just order for me. I don't have a clue what I'm supposed to to eat, what not to eat. They didn't really go over it with me. You have a better handle on it than I do.
Yeah.
And I was kind of I was actually being according to the dietitian, too restrictive. He can have a potato once in a while. And I was like, no potatoes.
Yeah. And it's always different, right? Because like potatoes have no sodium.
Right.
So if all you're worried about is sodium, you can have potatoes. Can't have French fries necessarily loaded with salt, but you can have potatoes. But then also, all heart patients have a little bit different requirements. So maybe they can't have potatoes, so there's no right 100% way to do it. You can't lay it out on a map. So it is very challenging.
And sometimes you have kind of the basics of what you think, but then you could be totally wrong about, oh, well, I guess that isn't so healthy. Then I'm finding that out with my own stuff. So, what inspired you to leave your 9-to-5 sales job and become your own boss?
I really was inspired to do this for other people. And I wasn't really necessarily sure I was going to make a business out of it when I first started. So it was kind of a side hustle, and I kind of did it for, just on social media and things like that. But recently the decision was made for me. So I am doing it 100% full time now. And really the reason I wanted to do it was I'm not as young as I used to be. Someone said to me the other day, my runway is not as long as it used to be. Kind of like that. It was a nice way of saying I was getting older. But I really wanted the flexibility to be able to, be able to travel and do all the things I wanted to do and not have those restrictions of that 9-to-5 job and, all the pressure and expectations, so now they're my own expectations and pressure, but I get to control them. So that's really how it all came about.
That's awesome. What part of your job do you feel is the most rewarding to you and encouraging for others?
I think when people realize that it's not, for lack of a better way of saying it, a death sentence, or a life sentence where you can still do all the things that you've always done and enjoy them, that makes us happy. And it makes me happy when I can help other people realize that. Because I feel like, just like we were talking about the paralyzation and not really knowing what you can eat, and you feel like I can't go out to my families for the holidays. I can't socialize. I can't get on a plane, and when they realize that they can do all those things and enjoy them, that's the icing on the cake for me. That's what makes it all worthwhile.
Well, and I think that especially this year where there's been so many outside restrictions, being able to control something that can make you happy.
Exactly.
Makes a big difference. Because this year has just been something else. So
I think we're past the word challenging. I don't even know what the word is to describe it, because I think we've bypassed challenging and we're right into just ridiculous. That's what it feels like.
I've seen a meme. I posted it the other day about I want a refund back on 2020, or I want to read the fine print of 2021.
I did too. I saw that. That was so funny.
I'm like, that is perfect.
Yeah, for sure.
Like so many of our guests before you, our parents have often been listed as our biggest inspiration in our lives. What are a couple of things that you find now compared to when you were a child that you use as inspiration in work life?
Oh, it's 100%. Number one is work ethic. Like you put in a hard day's work and you get the rewards for that, and really the number one thing after that is just complete confidence to believe that I can do whatever I want to do. Sometimes to a fault. I'm pretty sure there were some activities that I did my parents probably should have told me I wasn't very good at, but they were just like, if you want to do it, go for it. But it really gives me, like, I have no fear. And like I said, sometimes I should. But and a perfect example of that is when my husband was in the hospital, when we came out and we saw the cardiologist afterwards, he was like giddy. He was like jumping around in the doctor's office. And we're like, what the heck? And he's like, I honestly never thought I would see Chris out of a hospital bed. And
Wow.
we were on our way out of town and we like looked at each other like we didn't even, that never crossed our minds. Even when they said he was going to be on the transplant list, never crossed our minds that he would not be living a full life. And I think whether it's just stupidity or that confidence that we have, I'm not sure what it is, but that's what drives me. And I know I learned that from my parents.
That's awesome. That is completely awesome. I wanted to say hi to Terry Fulmore and Angie Francis. Terry says so far so good. So I think maybe we're past our, knock on wood, technical difficulties.
Yeah.
We met through meal recipes and such because of our husband's heart histories. We have struggled a bit in our home finding the median between starvation and bad habit eating. Do you find yourself collaborating more with your husband on the meals, or do you not give him much input? We talked
about this a little bit. It's funny because I do ask, but I don't usually get a very good answer. So he pretty much leaves it up to me. He's not as opposed to your situation, he's not a super picky eater. So he'll pretty much try anything. And I can't say that was true years ago, but he and I both have lost 100 pounds at different times in our lives. And so that really changed our eating habits, which made it a little bit easier when we started adding the low sodium aspect to it, because we were already pretty much eating whole foods, non-processed foods, and things like that. So he's pretty flexible. He'll eat pretty much anything I make. I may never make it again, but he'll at least eat it the first time.
I was pretty excited. Last weekend, I was making white chicken chili with totally different ingredients, and it's not something he would eat anyway. And when I took the chicken out, he actually tried it. And I was like, whoa, he just tried anything. He goes, I might die tomorrow, but I'm not going to have any more. I'm like, you're not going to die from it.
Yeah, you're not going to die from it.
It was really good.
That's hilarious. Sounds delicious.
It was really, really good. What do you feel most grateful for in your work life and in your personal life?
Well, like I kind of said before, I really like the flexibility and the ability to really pick and choose who I can work with and who I can help. And I don't pick and choose. I help everybody who wants it, but I don't have to make choices that aren't necessarily in alignment with my integrity or my passion. So there's a huge bonus in that. Being in the sales world for 16 years, you don't always have choices, and it's nice to have choices. In my personal life, it's 100% family. My kids inspire me, my family, my parents inspire me. I believe in just being able to live your best life. And I'm fortunate that I'm very close with my family, and I have a new grandbaby. So that's pretty awesome. I mean, she's 9 months old now, but she's still new. Yeah. So, and because I'm not working, every Friday I get to watch her. So that's something I wouldn't have been able to do in my other life. So, it's the little things that
I love it. I love it. As you embarked on this journey of being your own boss, who was most resourceful to you?
It's funny because it's kind of been an evolution, and I've worked with a lot of coaches who have helped me. I started out with Shannon and Meg Sullivan. They have Enlightened Life, and that kind of made me start really looking inward about what I wanted to do in the future. And then probably the biggest influence was Julie Landy. She has a coaching business where, basically it helps you discover what your passion is. And so I was working with her when Chris was in the hospital, and I knew I wanted to do something, but I just wasn't sure what I wanted to do. And I actually missed one of the classes that we were supposed to have. So I listened to it. I was basically crying because I was frustrated, and he wasn't coming back from recovery, and it was a very dangerous surgery. And I was like, I get really angry when I cry. It makes me mad. So I'm like, okay, I need to be productive. And I listened to the class that I missed, and that's just like when all the things aligned. I was looking around at all the lack of resources that we had and knew that people needed the resources that I could provide. And it just took off from there. So, I have to give a lot of credit to, well, I guess me because I signed up, but her because she really has walked me through the process.
Absolutely.
And she taught me that you don't have to do everything yourself. When you're starting a business, it's hard. It takes money and time and energy. And she was probably the one who said, I got a virtual assistant to help build my webpage. Yeah, it might have cost me a little money to do that, but it saved me so much time that I could spend on other things. That I think that's probably the biggest lesson, that when you're starting a business is really hard to learn, because you feel like, I'm not making any money. I can't spend money. But
right. Or if you're like me, it's like, no, I have to do it all myself and control. And that's not a healthy thing to do either. And if I've learned anything this year, that's probably been the biggest one, is that I need to collaborate with others, get inspiration. If I need help, I need to say, I need help.
Right.
So,
well, and not only is it not healthy, it's not possible.
Right.
Like, for those of us who like control, it's really hard to admit that, but it really isn't possible. So I had to
admit that I didn't have a superhero cape.
Right? We're women, for God's sake. I think we're born with a superhero cape.
What is the top 3 lessons you have learned in not only startup, but in sustainability of your business?
So I think it's really consistency. You have to make a plan that you can stay consistent with.
Mm-hmm.
We all want to go from 0 to 100. Like I wanted to start my business, and really my ultimate goal, which I know is later in the program, but I really want to have a cooking show. That's what I really want. And focusing on heart healthy and low sodium. And the sun is just wanting to highlight me so much in this. I cannot move away from it. Okay, let's try this. So I think consistent, you have to make a plan that you can stay consistent with. Mm-hmm. So if you're doing social media and you're like, I'm going to post something 7 days a week, well, that's not realistic. So you need to be realistic. You need to be consistent, and you really need to listen to your tribe or your clients or whatever you call them, because you can think you know what they want, but you could be totally off the mark. Right. I did a presentation at a senior center, and it's kind of a different platform. And at the end of the program I gave them a few examples of like, well, you could use this ingredient instead of that ingredient. And they're like, could you just give us a list of those, like the substitutes that we should have? And I was like, well, sure. I don't know specifically what you want. So now I'm like, okay, well, I thought giving an example and then they could take it from there was probably all they needed. But they obviously, I'm listening, that they need more structure. Right. So that's something that I'm going to take back and, try to figure out how to make that accessible for them, I guess is the best way to think about it. Yeah. So, I kind of thought teach them and they will, take care of it. But it's, for some people, they need that laid out like a map, what they should do and what they shouldn't do. So you got to listen. You got to be able to listen. So those are I guess that's my 3 things. Set realistic goals, be consistent, and listen.
Awesome. Very awesome. Before we get to our speed round of questions, we're going to hear from a couple of our sponsors. So I'm going to take you out for just a second. Jay makes it look really easy to produce and do the interview, and it's really not. So kudos to him. Hold on just 1 second. All right. River Valley Dental, located in Mankato, Minnesota, provides their patients with the most current treatment using the latest dental technology. Dr. Tom Pooley and his team offers services ranging from general preventative care to restorative care. They are now offering cosmetic treatment paired with their med spa. At River Valley Dental, you are never just another set of teeth. You are a face with a name and a history. It is their privilege to serve you and guide you to your dental goals. River Valley Dental, your smile, our passion. Gracie B. Doodle is a new up-and-coming online store and social media group for the decorated apparel, design, and sublimation sector. From digital papers to sublimation blanks and more, Gracie B. Doodle is a great resource for the crafters or for the professional shops. Online at www.graciebdoodle.company.site and also on Etsy at Gracie B. Doodle Designs. The Wow Zone is a family entertainment center located in Mankato, Minnesota. 24 state-of-the-art bowling lanes, a 2-laser laser tag arena, mini golf, video games, snack bar, sports bar, and restaurant. Bring a few or bring them all. The Wow Zone can fit them all. Bring Christy back here. All right. One of the favorite parts of these interviews is the Mankato Mover Speed Round. The Blue Crew, whose motto is, "We'll get you there." Here we go. I'm going to give you 2 options for a list of things. Exercise or great recipes?
That's a tricky one because I think it's both. And I love exercise, but they say really, your health is made in the kitchen. So I have to go with great recipes.
Nice. Fresh fruits or fresh vegetables?
Fresh vegetables.
Okay. Fresh food or frozen food?
Fresh food.
Salad or steak?
Salad with steak on it.
I love it. Wine or protein shake?
That's a super hard one. Because I have a protein shake every day and I like wine. So can I say both? I really want to say both.
Okay. Sea salt or seasoning salt?
Neither. No salt seasoning all the way.
Gotcha. Cooked or raw vegetables?
Raw. I like both, but raw.
Gotcha. Lean beef or chicken?
Probably chicken.
Okay. Great job. Now back to the questions. Has the COVID situation made your services more needed or appreciated?
I think it's been super challenging because my clients are often older, and so their isolation makes it really hard for them. I think it's probably more needed, but I think access has been harder.
Right.
So it's been a little bit of a, something that we've had to navigate as far as like how to reach the people who really need the help because they can't come out and they're not super great at social media. Right. So, it's definitely been a challenge for sure. Like everything else.
Exactly. Proudest moment in life for you as a businesswoman and in your personal life?
I would say the proudest moment in my business is that I actually took the leap to do this full time. I like I said, structure. And, I like to know where my paycheck's coming from. And this is a little bit more arbitrary. So it's a nice way of putting it. So it's been a challenge for me to make that adjustment, but I'm super proud that I took the chance and that I'm going to make it the best that I can make it. So I would say that's probably one of my proudest moments in the business world. And then as far as in my personal life, there's a few. Losing 100 pounds individually is probably one of my proudest moments. But of course, my children and my husband, they're pretty proud moments too. But they're kind of probably the top of the list. But it's kind of hard to separate all that. It really is.
Absolutely. How has your life been different than what you had imagined it when you were growing up?
I kind of thought about this a little bit because I grew up in a town of 200 people.
Oh, okay.
Out in the middle of nowhere, Ohio. And I now live in one of the biggest metropolitan areas of the country. I live in the suburbs of Chicago. So that in and of itself was something that I never imagined. Right. I always knew that I wanted to live in a bigger city, but not necessarily Chicago. There's Columbus and then there's Chicago, right. It's a big difference. So, and, I think that's probably the biggest difference. And I certainly never thought I'd own my own business. I really wanted to be a professional on some level. And my dad is the oldest of 10 and I'm the oldest grandchild. And I'm the first one that went away to college.
Okay.
So there was a lot of, I blazed a lot of paths. And I was intentional, but I didn't really know where I'd end up. So,
right.
Yeah. So that's probably the biggest difference is living in such a large area and, traveling for business and being, we didn't travel much when I was younger. So, to go to other countries and things like that, that's probably something I didn't really imagine. I thought it would be nice, but I didn't know that I would ever do it. So
yeah, to actually get it done.
Yeah. It's one thing to think when you're younger that, oh, this is what I'm going to do. But in the back of your mind, you're like, yeah, okay, I don't know how I'm going to do that. But I'm very thankful that I've been able to do all of those things for sure.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
Certainly as a lifestyle coach, you are always collaborating with your clients. What kind of feedback do they provide you in terms of encouragement so that you can gauge what you are teaching, if what you are teaching them is actually working?
Yeah. So I make a lot of videos, a lot of Facebook Lives and a lot of YouTube videos of actually cooking the food. And the other day somebody told me, you have too many ingredients. And I'm like, I don't feel like I have recipes with a lot of ingredients, but it made me pause and think, okay, am I being like super fancy? I don't feel like I am, but so, that's something that I'm going to have to take into consideration to really make sure that I'm meeting the needs of everybody. Not everybody's at the same level when it comes to cooking. And, I try to make it as basic as possible, but then I realized, well, I'm obviously not making it basic enough for everybody. But, then you have to have that balance, right? Because you don't want to make it so simple that somebody who enjoys cooking or has more experience, they're going to want to be challenged a little bit because, my whole concept is I want people to be able to eat what they always eat. We can't go out to a restaurant and have pizza, but we sure as heck have pizza every day, not every day, but often at home. No, I'll eat pizza. But, I was able to make a marinara sauce with no sodium, a crust with no sodium. So really the only sodium in a pizza is the cheese. And if you go light on the cheese, you really can have a low sodium pizza, which a lot of people don't think that's possible.
Right.
So no, you can't go buy it at the dough at the store. You have to make it. So for some people that's challenging, but for other people, they're like, all right, let's do this. Let me see how crazy I can get. So, because I go from making a regular pizza to making a, roasted tomato and goat cheese pizza with pesto, that might be a little more challenging. So it's just really taking that information, keeping it fresh, making sure it's accessible to everybody. Because I don't want anybody to feel like we did in the hospital, right? Like that would not be helpful if I created this opportunity for people to help them and then they feel like it's a burden. So it's really taking that constructive criticism and turning it around.
And I think it'd be challenging too with so many people having different palates, like the ultimate picky people versus the ones that like to experiment with, different spices and things that might be healthier, but some people would be like, no.
Yeah. Well, sometimes just saying it turns them off, because they're like, there's no way I'm going to like that. So you have to kind of bring them along, with you and convince them that it's worth giving it a try. So that's a challenging part of it. But that's what you got to do and you're not going to please everybody, but I want to try to please as many people as I can.
Right. Or if they can get the gist of it, then that's fantastic too, to even try.
Well, and I think when you think about like folks who are eating low sodium, oftentimes they're like a meat and potato meatloaf kind of generation. And, that is not something that we eat on a regular basis anyways, but I feel like I have to try to think of recipes that will appeal to a broad audience because, we're young to have such, and as are you guys, to have such a extreme heart situation.
Mhm.
So you got to, think about those folks, but then you also have to think about people who, every Wednesday they go to their local diner for meatloaf and
Mhm.
mashed potatoes. Those folks need to have options as well. So
Right.
I really try to listen to all of that to figure
Mhm.
out which direction I should go.
Sure. That makes total sense.
Yeah.
What is your favorite recipe to cook, and what's your family's favorite?
I really like, gosh, there's so many, but I make this tomato basil flatbread
Okay.
that, you roast the tomatoes and the basil in the oven, and then you basically make a thinner crust, and then I put it on a stone on the grill. I cook almost all my food, a lot of my food on the grill, especially in the summer.
Uh-huh.
I've made blueberry scones on the grill. I really try to think of like anything I could try to make on the grill to see if I can pull it off, just because I guess it entertains me.
Right.
And my family, I think their favorite meal is probably lasagna.
Mm.
But it's so funny. They call it the holiday salad. It's literally salad with a homemade balsamic dressing, craisins, like those
Yep.
little dried cranberries, blue cheese, and roasted walnuts.
Oh.
And I always make it at the holidays. And when both my kids are married, and when they moved out, that was the recipe they asked me for.
That's awesome.
I'm like, I make like these really challenging things, and you want the holiday salad that anybody could make. But
Hey,
it must remind them of home. That's the only thing I can figure out.
it must.
It was so funny. I was like, really? That's what we're going for? Okay. Whatever.
That's great.
Yeah. So
what does your future hold?
In this year, I don't know what our future holds, but I hope that my future holds a cooking show. I really want to have the ability to connect with more people than just, the folks not that the folks that I'm getting on social media aren't great, but I think there's so many more people out there that could benefit from what I have to share. And I want a bigger platform. So that's my ultimate goal, is to have a cooking show. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I really wish I could remember who referred me to your Facebook channel, because I know that when Jay was going through all of this stuff, somebody told me about it, that I should check it out. And for the life of me, I can't remember who it was.
Well, when you do, tell them thank you very much.
Will do.
I guess I'm hoping you guys got stuff out of it. So, are still. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. I'm starting to play a little bit more and just try things. And like I said, I try to sneak stuff by Jay once in a while, and it typically doesn't work, but he's made a bunch of adjustments though too. So that is great.
Maybe that should be my future goal, is to get Jay to eat
more than 3 colors.
Yeah.
We give him such a hard time about that. Lastly, what do you want your brand new granddaughter to share with her grandchildren someday about Nana Christy?
I really want her to say that, I'll probably cry, that I was fun. We lived life to the fullest, no matter what. We didn't let anything get in our way, and that we had a ton of fun together.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah. I just think life's too short. You have to enjoy the ride. Yeah.
Especially this year with Jay being 45 when he had his heart attack, and me with my diagnosis of an autoimmune this year at 48. I'm like, we are really young.
Yeah. You guys are super young.
Having these things go on.
I mean, we're like 10 years older than you guys. You're super young. That's crazy.
I've been told it's so that we can inspire others to keep moving forward. So that's what.
There you go.
That's what I'm going with. So
I like it.
Christy, on behalf of Jay, the viewers, and myself, we thank you so much for joining us this week and telling us about yourself and your business. You can find Christy on Facebook and Instagram at Christy Cooks for Life, and online at ChristyCooksForLife.com. Thanks again, Christy, for your story and for meeting with me And I know that we have another call that we should set up sometime again soon.
We do.
And we'll go from there. I'm going to take you out. And I'll be right back with you. Hold on just one second.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Next week on the show, we will have another new and exciting guest to tell us their stories of inspiration, collaboration, and encouragement. We would like to thank our sponsors for today's episode. Just a second. I am definitely not as adept at doing this as Jay. Are you looking to travel either domestically or internationally? Call Jana Hughes at Travelooza to book your next vacation. From weekends to resorts or cruises, Jana and her team are ready and waiting to get you back on your feet, headed for the sun and the sand. Call 1-888-689-0660. The Visual Identity Vault. I keep losing my mouse. I'm sorry. The Visual Identity Vault, located in historic downtown Fairmont, Minnesota. TVIV is a full-service decorated apparel provider with screen printing, embroidery, sublimation, and more. Also offered are signs, banners, design services, paper-printed products, promotional items, and custom gifts. 4,000 plus feet of retail space with great deals for everyone young to old. TVIV also offers a variety of different fundraising opportunities for your groups needing to earn some extra cash for that special trip. Contact TVIV today at sales@tvivmn.com or online at www.tvivmn.com. Gemini Studios is a leading production company in southern Minnesota. Based out of downtown Fairmont, Minnesota, Gemini Studios offers many services such as VHS to DVD transfers, picture scanning to CD, advertising and commercials, voiceover recording, educational and informational videos, live streaming special and school events. If interested in any of their services, please call them at 507-235-5190. That wraps up things for today. On behalf of both Jay and I, would like to thank you, the viewers, who tuned in to check this ICE thing out. And we hope that you found the message of inspiration, collaboration, and encouragement to be useful in your personal and professional lives each day. Thanks again, and we'll see you next week.